I was raised by these two people who called themselves my parents. They never did any parenting. Actually, I guess you could say they were my employers. At a very young age, they were pimping me out.
Really?
Is what people call it nowadays.
At what age?
They started pimping me out like about 5, you know.
5 years old?
5 years old. At first, I used to just have to sit on these guys' laps, you know, and stuff, and then later on, they started like just rubbing on my legs, and you know, at first I thought I was just getting attention, you know. Every kid hungers for attention, but as I got older, you know, it went from just sitting on the laps to sitting on other things.
What age were you when you lost your virginity?
I was like maybe like 10 years old, about 10. Because my birthday was coming up, and it was this guy that my mom was seeing. My mom was a prostitute, so, and my mom looked very young, but I guess I looked better because I was even younger. A couple of times I had to do some things like watch bestiality. I never you know, did it, but I had to watch it. It was gross.
Watching what exactly?
Like dogs doing, you know, girls dealing with dogs.
And you grew up with both your parents?
Yes. They divorced when I was 5.
You were 5, they split up. And you stayed with mom or with dad?
Mostly with mom, but dad too.
And how was your childhood?
Perfectly fine.
Everything was cool?
I accepted everything.
Were there any issues, any problems?
I covered up with doing sports and chores.
What did you cover up?
Everything that's in my head and mind, and I couldn't explain it. All the abuse and stuff.
What kind of abuse? Sexual or physical? Or?
Everything in one. I don't want to tell the truth, but I need to tell the truth.
Who? Is it from your dad or from someone else?
It is both. And one more. And I don't know.
So there was sexual abuse at some point?
Mm-hmm.
At what age? Do you remember? Was it ongoing?
Mm-hmm. May I have some Can I do some drugs? Please?
Tell me about your childhood. You grew up with both your parents?
No, my dad, my father wasn't in my life because he was a black tar heroin salesman for the Hells Angels. The Hells Angels had him employed as a heroin salesman. He was in my life, but you know, not too heavily because of that.
Going foster care, I was about 2 months, and it was because my mother had called DCFS on herself for abusing me. I was told it was postpartum depression. How she would abuse me as a baby. Like, I have pictures of me with black eyes in 2 months, you know. And so basically that's the first time I ever got took away at 2 months. And then my grandma got me.
Wow.
But my childhood was pretty tragic. I've been in 24 different foster homes. I've been abused, I've been raped, I've been molested, I've been tortured.
At what age?
My first time ever being raped, I was 5.
By who?
My foster parent, he raped me, and the foster mom, she knew, but she didn't care. That's what it looked like. I know exactly what he did to me. I remember him coming in the door. I remember everything. Me and my foster mom were just watching a movie. He walked in drunk. You know, he pretty much like asked me to come into the room or whatever. And with me being 5 years old, you know, I'm not expecting this or whatever. So like, he just grabbed me up and like covered my face and told me to be quiet and just did it. And it was just like blood everywhere. I was screaming. She came in. This is how the police was called. She came in and she was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" He hit her. But I guess I found out later that they had already history of abuse problems in their relationship, so this is why she never cared about him continuing to do it.
My mom and my dad split when I was very young because my dad used to do drugs and beat on my mom, and so they separated, and my mom was a single mom. I have brothers, and I'm the only girl and the oldest. So then my mom became an addict, and I became mom slash sister slash aunt slash babysitter for all my mom's homegirls. So I'm 9 years old and a child myself, and knew how to make mixed drinks and pick up my drunk mom off the floor and take care of my brothers. And we were really poor, you know, like really poor. Like we would wet magazine, you know what I mean, and wipe our butts sometimes, you know, like electricity would be off. I remember being 9 years old and walking from door to door, you know, asking different neighbors for different things so I could feed me and my brothers. And then I learned how to steal, you know, and that like saved my family, you know. My mom even knew that I was stealing, but she was so far in her addiction that she didn't even care, and she somehow made it right to herself. She sold me for a dope sack when I was 12 to her boyfriend's brother. And that's when pretty much my life had took a turn, you know, because my innocence was taken from me at that time. Sorry. And as far as I was concerned, life was rough, but because that's all I had been through, I didn't even really realize that what I was going through was abnormal, you know? Until I started hanging out with people who had normal lives. But then, because I was so used to having chaos around me, that would only be short-lived, you know? I could only hang out with my normal friends for so long. And I had to hang out with gang members and people who were older than me, and because it was normal to me, you know? So because I was so angry, right, I got kicked out of several schools, became a gang member, was very promiscuous, because that was normal, you know? Plus I didn't have a dad, you know? My mom was promiscuous, my mom was an addict, so seeing all those things for so long, you know, it just kind of rubs off on you.
And you grew up with both your parents?
No, actually I didn't. My mom and my dad separated when I was young, and maybe around 2 years old I guess. My dad had took me from my mom. By the time my mom got me back, mind you, I was a toddler. I was only 2 years old. I had a 3rd-degree burn on the top of my head, and the story was that, up to this day that I still, hear, is that I had grabbed a pot from the stove, but I'm 2 years old, how can I reach the stove? And I still have the scar on the top of my head, but it's shrank throughout the years. I'm 52 years old now, so 50 years ago, but it's still, the scar still there, but it scarred me. It scarred me from that day because I've always had a complex about it. And then my mom remarried again, and that was another story that, it wasn't nothing happy. Nothing that I've ever, I could even think of has been a happy part in my entire life. I started growing up, I was 16, 17 when I left home. I left home by myself, came out to the LA area, and I went from one crowd to another. I've been transgender since I've been like 13, and I think, they've always known it, so that's even made it double harder on me. All my family are gang members. From my mom to my dad to all my uncles, they're all gang members from the Harbor area. So that was double rough on me. So I've grown up around a lot of violence. And like I said, I've always tried to make even a good situation out of a bad one, but somehow, I didn't have that luck.